Inspiring interviews with today's top landlords. This is the Rental Income Podcast. And now, Dan Lane.
Most investors use mortgages to buy rental properties, but Steve, you got a little bit of a different strategy. You would save up money, and as you had the money, you would buy a rental property, right?
Basically, that's true. Since I didn't actually need the money from the real estate at that time to live on, because I had my family business income, I would be able to just take what I would normally pay myself, leave that in the checking account, wait for the next property to come, and then pay for it out of the checkbook.
Steve never touched a penny of the profits that his rental properties generated. He reinvested all of that money into buying more rental properties, and now he's getting ready to reap the rewards of doing that. He recently decided he's ready to retire, so he's going to sell his family business, and he's going to live off of his rental income. So on the show today, we're going to talk about exactly how he built his portfolio without using any mortgages and figure out how he got to where he is today. Joining us on the show today for a repeat appearance is Steve Goldberg from Connecticut. We'll take a really quick break. We'll thank our sponsors. We'll come right back and we'll catch up with Steve. A good deal on a rental property isn't going to last very long. To win properties today, you need to move quickly when a deal comes on the market, but it takes time to analyze a property. I want to let you know about an app where you can analyze deals on your phone in seconds. It's called Ask Rick. That's RIC for Rental Income Calculator. You can analyze a deal with the push of a button. You can figure out the rent, your mortgage payment, your expenses, and figure out the cash flow. If the numbers make sense, you can make an offer right there on the app, or you can send a calendar invite to your agent to see the property in person. Ask Rick is currently offering a free 7-day trial. Just search for Ask Rick in the App Store or go to Just Ask Rick. That's RIC. JustAskRick.com. Whether you've been buying rental properties for years or you're looking to buy your very first rental property, the very first thing you want to do before you go out and find a great deal is to figure out your financing. The lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. Chaley has a special limited time offer just for our listeners. She will pay for your appraisal up to $500 when you close a loan with her. Just mention you heard about this on the Rental Income Podcast. If you want more details or if you're ready to get started today, just go to ridgelendinggroup.com. That's RIDGE lendinggroup.com. NMLS 42056. Steve, why don't we start off talking about your portfolio? Can you tell me what your portfolio looks like?
Yeah, it's a mixture of condominiums, which is mostly what I have, a 5-unit apartment building, and a commercial real estate building, all in a general geographic area was my buying done so that I can easily keep track of everything, collect rents, and do repairs.
Can you tell me why it is that you bought condos as opposed to buying maybe single family houses or any other type of rental property?
I have a full-time 40-hour job. My condos were set up for night and weekend type of investment. And the condos I wanted to favor because a property manager is involved. The lawns, the snow plowing, the trash pickup, the roof repairs, all are covered in my condo fees. So I really only need to worry about the actual repairs in the house, like a shade, a light switch, a vanity, because even if there's a sewage clog, that's not my problem. The condo association takes care of it. So that I really recommend the condominium concept for the part-time real estate investor.
Yeah, like that sounds like it's pretty easy, not going to be very time-consuming to manage it. So take me back. Why did you first start buying rental properties?
Yes, I'm in a second-generation family business. And when my father retired, he sold to his cousin, and his cousin is 6 years older than me. So I knew that would always be an issue when retirement came, because he would want to retire 6 years before me. So I had to plan and figure out how all that would work out. So the way I figured it out is that I would just be prepared with a new vocation when the retirement happens, meaning that he now is 70. I'm only 64. He's gung-ho retirement phase. I'm not giving him a hard time to sell the family business because I'm all lined up already with my next thing that I need to do in my life, which is all these properties that I've been doing will be my retirement to get up every day and go put around and fix things and correct rent and whatever I need to do.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So this was like a long-term plan that you made years ago. How many years ago did you make the plan that you wanted to be where you are today?
I would say really it happened around 1990. So yeah, I planned way in advance.
Yeah, this is like a almost like a, I guess, over a 30-year plan that you've been working on this.
That's true.
Wow.
And the plan was right because, now we're in negotiations to sell the family business. And I've always been hands-on. I've always been kind of guy that I never sit in front of the TV. I like to stay busy. And so rentals seemed like just the perfect thing to do as a retirement because I'm only 64. I'm not really ready to retire yet.
Mm-hmm. So now your rentals are all free and clear, and you've never had any loans on your properties. Like you've always just bought the properties as you've had the money to buy them. Is that right?
Well, I had put money away for retirement before that I knew what I was going to be doing in the real estate business. So when I realized what was happening, actually, the money in my retirement accounts wasn't making any money because at the time, I mean, right now, you have money in the bank, you get 0.5% if you're lucky.
Right.
So I would get at least a 10% return by doing investments in the property. So it seemed at one point to be a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just go and start taking the money that I put away for retirement and was only making, 0.5% to a few percent or losing money because maybe we bought the wrong stock, put in real estate, and I've never lost money on it. These particular properties did not increase that much in value, but they always have had positive cash flow no matter when I started.
And I think that's an interesting thing to point out that these properties today are worth about the same as what you paid for them, right?
That's true because they're down and dirty. We're not on the water. We're inner city. It's apartment style living that went condo. No amenities, no swimming pools, no parks, nothing there other than a safe place to sleep at night. So that's why there's really no value of it going up. I mean, sure, probably by the time I go to sell, maybe I'll get 10 or 20,000 more because also I've maybe put 10,000 in for updating of the kitchen and bathroom. But these are in an area in my town where there's not much room for the price to go up on the property.
So the price hasn't appreciated, but you've made a ton of money just collecting those rents over the years. Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
The rent has always been positive cash flow. I've grown up in this town. I've been in this town in New Haven for 64 years. I know a lot of people. I do a lot of networking. I join different associations, and I've been able to build rapport with a lot of different people that they call me all the time. Steve, I need a rental. And if my portfolio was twice the size from the networking I've done, I probably could have it all still filled with tenants.
And you know what I think is great about your story is that for anyone listening today that's saying, Steve did this back in 1990, I can't do it today. I mean, they literally can do it today because they can buy these properties for the exact same price that you were buying them for in 1990 and 2000 and like up until really the entire time that you've been buying properties, that they're still the same price today in 2021.
Well, the key thing is you have to know, you have to be willing to buy more of an inner city. You have to be able to buy in sort of a aging area. Don't think you're going to be buying condos on the water, or with all amenities for the kind of pricing, because you're not going to be able to get the retail price from the tenant um, if you are paying too much for the condo.
Right.
So that's the key thing that I found.
Now, a lot of people today don't have the patience that your generation had to slowly buy rentals. Over people today, I think we want things faster. So, did you ever think that as you were building out your portfolio, I can buy a property a year or two properties a year, or I could take out some loans and buy properties faster. Did that ever cross your mind?
Yes and no. You got to remember, again, in the beginning of the broadcast, I have a full-time job. So one a year worked better for me. And certainly it did increase. There were sometimes 2, 3 a year because I don't want to pass up on some deals. But I'm a part-time landlord. I wasn't looking for this to support my family.
Mm-hmm.
And now when it will be supporting me when I retire from my main business, now, we're all done with the kids. We're all done with the colleges, just me and my wife. So now there will be enough there to support me through my elder years.
Were you ever tempted, like as you started to grow the portfolio and have more and more rentals, were you ever tempted that, hey, we've got all this extra money, we could really live a much better lifestyle. We could have a bigger house, we could have nicer cars. Were you ever tempted to use that money to supplement your lifestyle?
No, because it just so happens me and my wife are not showy people. We're happy. We drive a Chevy. I could afford a Cadillac, but we're happy with the Chevy. We do have a nice house, but it's nothing that's got to be, like the millionaire next door.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on your personality and what you want out of life.
Right.
What my wife and I wanted out of life was more keeping the family together and doing what we need. Like, we took a trip every year. We've been to Disney when the kids were little. And then we were just always believers, both me and my wife, of banking money so that if there is a rainy day, we have a good rainy day fund.
Yeah, I love it. Like you just have so much discipline that the rents were coming in, you would save the rent money, and then every year you would have enough money built up, and that was your money to buy another property outright. Like that basically sums up your strategy, right?
Yes, we are disciplined people. We have a goal, and that is correct. I'm not saying everybody can do it, especially if you do need the money to live on. Then you're not going to have the money in the checking account to quickly go buy another property when you need to get it. But I was brought up from my family to with discipline and to have rainy day money in the bank, and it's always worked out, thank God.
Did it get easier, like as you were buying more units in the same building? Did it get easier to maybe meet other owners or come across deals just because you already operate properties there?
100%. That's exactly my
Yeah.
secret. Yes, I would make sure. Well, the main thing is I got on the board myself, and then had the list of all the owners, and then I always made myself very noticeable on the property. I drive a bright red truck. They would always know, they see that truck, who it was. And in turn, yeah, sure, people would be approaching me that, am I interested in buying their property? And the reason they would approach me is they were accidental landlords. They were actually people that lived there, moved on, got married, bought houses, weren't able to sell it for what they wanted. So they decided to be landlords for a few years. And when they got tired of being landlords, then they approached me and I'd buy their unit.
Now, tell me about the condo fee. I know you said a lot of the buildings don't have a lot of amenities, but in a lot of condo fees, the rent goes up or the fee goes up a little bit every year. Does that happen to you, and has that eaten into your profit as time has gone by?
Well, what you explained, of course, is true. But generally, if the condo fee went up $20 a month, I would rent my rent would go up $20 a month. And generally, it would work out because, especially, I could document to the people if they're asking me why you're raising my rent, I can prove to them that because the condo fees are going up, and that we're in the 17 of the buildings that we're paying your heat and hot water. So for $20 a month, that they're getting heat and hot water, they don't want to move out, and it all works out.
Right. Okay. And the same thing with your taxes and insurance. If all of a sudden the taxes went up one year, you would just pass that along to your tenants.
Well, I can't say it always works out. Sometimes things go up faster than you expect. Certainly, there are times if I'm getting hit in the same year with a tax increase and a condo fee increase, and then we're paying, well, the condo fees because we're paying the heat and hot water, so the utilities are going up. Certainly some years I could end up lowering my profit margin by $20 or $30 a month. It does happen. But then I just wait until the next tenant is ready to move in. And then when I advertise it or making my phone calls to my networking of people that I know, I just let them know it's the new rate.
Now, are your tenants Section 8 tenants, or do you have cash pay tenants?
Well, most of them are on a government program. There's I've been doing it for a long time. I still don't fully understand some of the bureaucracy here. Section 8 is a nice word that everybody understands in all 50 states. It means the government is helping pay the rent. But there's a lot of offshoots of these programs. But the bottom line is the agency then just puts the money in my account of whatever we negotiated and signed the lease for. And then usually the tenant pays a small portion depending on what they are on. And usually they're either on Social Security or they're on a veterans program. So the private agency does all the math. They tell me how much they're going to pay me. I mean, I tell them what I need for the rent. And then they'll say, well, we're going to give you $1,000 a month, and the extra 200, the tenant's going to pay you. And almost never do the tenants not pay the rent because they don't want to lose a place for $200 a month that they're paying. And I'm an excellent landlord. They love me. I fix whatever they need. And that's another topic to talk on. They're a customer. You have to service your customer and take care of their problems.
Well, what about dealing with the inspections? Has that ever been difficult? Like, because the Section 8, for anyone that doesn't know, the Section 8 or whatever program they're on, usually they'll send out an inspector to inspect the property on a yearly basis.
They definitely do, yes. They send out inspectors. They give you a list of what they're looking for so that you can be prepared in advance. It's nothing really unreasonable. I mean, they don't want to see paint that's chipped where a child could peel paint and eat it. They want to see smoke detectors in the apartment that work. They want to know that there's no leaks under the sink. They want to know the heat works, the refrigerator works, the stove works. Those are all the kind of things that they're inspecting, and it's really very basic. And they've even told me, I've asked about the inspections, and they say, we're a paying entity. We're going to give you a check, and we expect that all those items are going to work if we're going to make the check every month. And so it's nothing any different than any full cash tenant would want. They would expect all those things to work also.
So are most of your tenants Section 8, or do you have cash tenants too?
About 90% of them are on a social program, is what I like to use that word.
Okay.
Because like I said, the checks don't say Section 8 on it. They say the funding of the agency that was given the money. So maybe the government gives a Section 8 check to like this agency, and then the agency disperses it, and then I get the checks in the name of the agency that's dispersing the check. But it's government funded. It's a social agency, and it's if you're good to these people, they will send the leads your way all the time. And all they're asking you to be good is to when their people need a repair, fix it immediately. Don't make them wait a month. And then, in fact, I recently just got a gift basket from a government agency thanking me for being one of their best landlords on how quick I respond to their clients.
So overall, the benefit to you is that you know that that rent is going to be there on the first. Money comes in by direct deposit. And the only thing that you have to really deal with is any kind of repair issue.
Well, that's true, but I also have to collect the $100 or $200 that the person's paying. Now, some of the people are good today, and they'll use Zelle, and they'll actually send me the money to my computer. Some have no car, no bank, no stamps, no envelopes, and basically they tell me if you want your money, you got to come get it because it's too hard for them to get everything together, being that they're not going to go take a bus or a taxi to go buy stamps and an envelope and get a money order, etc. So it goes back to the beginning of my conversation that I bought in a 5-mile radius circle all my properties so that if I have to go for collecting money, if I have to go for repair, it's a very easy thing for me to do.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great business. So are you done buying, or at this point in your career, are you getting ready? Because you said you're getting ready to sell the family business. Are you getting ready to just live off the cash flow and not buy anymore? Or do you think you want to still buy a few properties here and there?
Well, I did buy a property actually this year, a few months ago. Generally, I'm not buying, but if I get a deal I can't refuse, I buy it. If nothing else, I'll flip it. And this last one, we had a fire in the building, and I noticed when the fire department was inspecting all the people, there was an empty unit. And I looked it up since I'm the president of the association. I called up the person. I said, your unit is empty. We just had a fire. What are you planning on doing? And he was a very unmotivated person. He said, I don't know. I just let it sit there. I don't have time to play with it. So I said to him on the phone, how's $40,000? I'll buy it from you. We'll close in 2 weeks. He called me back the next day. Great. I never met the guy, never even shook his hand. The lawyer called me up and sent the money to the lawyer. The lawyer said, okay, here's the deed. You're all done. Just like that. So, I wasn't going to pass that deal up.
If you want to hear more from Steve, you can check out his first appearance on episode number 229. If Steve inspired you and you're ready to buy your first rental or you want to add to your portfolio, the lender that I recommend is Chaley Ridge from Ridge Lending Group. She's a nationwide lender, and her specialty is helping investors finance rental properties. She has a ton of different loan programs, and she can find something customized to you for your situation. Chaley has a special limited time offer. She will pay for your appraisal up to $500 if you mention Rental Income Podcast when you reach out to her. If you want some more details, or if you want to set up a time to talk to Chaley personally, just go to ridgelendinggroup.com, NMLS 42056. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Make sure you subscribe. We put out new interviews every single Tuesday, and if you subscribe, you'll get notified as soon as they come out. My name is Dan Lane, and this has been the Rental Income Podcast.